Hi, I'm Kelly Rowlett-Presgrave. I'm president and CEO of Work With Your Hands, and we are so proud to be a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast. You can reach us at workwithyourhands.com. Kelly at workwithyourhands.com is my email.
At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines, regardless of gender, and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Chirp, the ultimate automation toolbox for home service businesses. Chirp helps you capture more leads, connect faster, close more deals, and create customers for life. Through text message, email, and ringless voicemail automation, Chirp can help you transform your customer's experience. Learn more in the show notes below.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Welcome back, Power Women, to part 2 of this interview with our guest, Heather. Make sure to check out part 1 from last week to learn more about our guest and hear the prior episode.
That was one of the saddest ones because this business owner in particular was just devastated, and he had gone through, the recession in 2007 and 2008 and lost his home. And,
it's like, well, then you start putting into things like, what did I lose because of that decision?
Was he able to turn it around?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good story then.
Yeah. Sure. No, he totally turned it around. But I mean, that's really a big blow when you're like, he's a great person. He's a great, builder. And it was just sad. It was sad to walk into his office and say, I found more.
That's how I'm feeling about my real estate right now.
Yep. There's some things there for Leslie. But so then you were doing that still and you went in. Did Travis hire you for the forensic piece? How did Travis snag you in?
Actually, it was because I have such a big heart for contractors. I could never say no. All these people would say, oh, can you come in and help? Can you come in and help? And I would, and I was working way too much. And so my husband said, I just get one job. Just go work for somebody. Just get one job. And I thought, oh, okay, fine. So I get on Craigslist and I find this little ad that Travis had posted for a accounting person. And I interviewed with him. And then I called him a week later and I go, I don't know if you're going to hire me, but I don't think I can give up what I'm doing. And he goes, well, I was going to hire you. He's like, can you just come in and help? And I was like, okay. So I told my husband, all right, I'm just going to work for this one guy. And in my mind, I kept my business open for 2 more years.
What year was this?
2015.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, I'll just get his books straightened out. I'll work for him for 6 months. I'll make my husband happy. And then I'll go back to doing what I was doing. Well, then, I mean, you guys know Travis. Yeah. He's amazing. And I've had big, lofty dreams of what I wanted to do with a business and a company and to build it and the culture and to make something, a company, someplace that people want to work and people want to come to work and enjoy themselves. And culture didn't used to be a thing. It's newer.
Yeah. Not here. Not in our space anyways.
Some years ago, it was just like, no, you just get up, you go to work. That's enough. Right. Well, it's not, especially with millennials coming into the workplace. They want to feel appreciated. It's a different type of feeling. And so Travis and I had a conversation about 3 months into me working with him. And I was just like really passionate that he had that same dream. And I just kept working for him. And I thought, at some point I'm going to leave. I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing because I loved it. And it didn't
He got
kind
you.
of snagged me. And he thought the same thing. He'll tell you. He's like, I didn't think that you were going to stay.
Yeah.
And I go, I didn't think I was going to stay.
So you've got to see it so since 2015, you've been able to see. Back in 2015, you guys were probably just doing a couple $1 million a year.
Yeah. And we were still doing NewCon, and we had like 28 employees.
Yeah.
And it's just been a really awesome journey and a fun ride. And we have the most amazing management team, and our executive managers, which is myself, Travis, Kelly, and Anthony, just work so well together. It's just been truly a life career dream come true to work with Sky and build Sky. And so, I've thought about, helping. That's why I help you guys. That's why anybody who calls me, I still help.
Yeah, I think that you have like a servant's heart, and you were able to fulfill what you needed to in the time of like slowing down for your husband and doing those things, but also being able to still be fulfilled as a human, because I think sometimes we get lost in the sauce of being parents and employees. And now I'm an employee and I'm not my own boss anymore, and I'm not doing all those things, and we just kind of get lost. And so I think Travis gave you the ability to fulfill all of those things, but then, help us crazy people that slide into your messages.
And he's passionate about it too, and it was kind of funny because I had shut my business down at that point. In 2018, he asked me to buy an apartment complex with him. And I was like, oh, that's a great investment opportunity. And in the back of his mind, he was saying, well, if she buys an apartment complex with me, she'll never leave.
Yeah.
It was strategic.
I knew what he was doing, but I he's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love that man. He's just a fabulous business owner. He's a fabulous person. He likes to help people in the trades.
He does. It's funny because I've called Heather and I've been like, I need to tell you this. I need to have you help me walk through it. Please don't tell anyone, just because you know how we are. We don't want to show our cards, right? And then she'll be like, can I tell Travis? And then I normally will be like, yeah, that's fine. And then here comes Travis. And he's like, okay, how can I help you? And I'm like, yeah. And then he'll start calling me too. And I'll be like, cause I'm a texter. And I'll be like, Travis, why are you calling me? But I'll text him. I'm like, hang on, I'm gonna call you back. I swear I'm gonna call you back. But being able to have friendships and resources in our space like that is just like invaluable. Like, I just can't even tell you how.
And we all win.
Yeah, we all win.
We all
Like,
win.
you're helping.
And we have friendships that we've cultivated all over the country.
Yeah. And it's like, I think, again, that's why I get so passionate about so many things, is because I have made such relationships and friendships through this gig that we never expected. I never expected to become like friends with someone in Oregon, like what?
Don't judge us for where we live.
We were talking earlier, I don't know if we want to talk about like revenue, but Sky, or throw out numbers, but Sky has like grown tremendously in the last 3 years.
Yes. Exponentially, just year over year.
Like, literally, when you told us the numbers, Leslie is like,
Well,
what?
from that 1 year, I still, when you're like, I'm like, no, what did you do?
No, she's like, literally, we just scaled.
It was like 15 to 24 in 1 year. It wasn't that what you were saying?
It was a lot of
and you said
moving parts and pieces. We did have an acquisition, which that is the fastest way to grow. But we just kept hiring and growing our department.
And paying attention. One thing that you called out that you guys paid attention to was canceled calls.
Yeah, talk about that.
Was it canceled calls or canceled jobs?
Cancellations, because we couldn't get to people fast enough. So that was one of the biggest.
We have a high cancellation, or when I was tracking it 6 months ago, we had a really high cancellation rate.
Are you guys tracking why your calls are canceling? Because if we can't get to them fast enough.
Well,
like
ours
another
was like
competitor got there.
They got there first. Yeah. And with plumbing, we can't. I fight with my next star coach about a 3-day call board. It just doesn't work in plumbing. I mean, they need you today. Water's leaking or the toilet's clogged. Maybe you can get to them the next day, but usually they're just calling somebody else.
They're going to call whoever can get out there first.
We cannot build out a 3-day board and that work for us.
We do a 3-day call board with plumbing, but we focus on the evaluation, plumbing evaluation. So we're booking plumbing evaluations. And then, yes, everything that's broken and that's hot, we call those our hot priorities, high priority.
So really you're changing it.
And we leave spots open in our schedule for those emergencies. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying with plumbing, because we do plumbing too.
You got to have the evaluations off your club or something like that to be able to get you back in. But that's why it's nice to have HVAC too, because they don't do HVAC, because then the club becomes a big value because it's all those visits.
We don't do after hours calls for people who aren't members, because we had to, prioritize that. And those members are the bread and butter of our business because that's who we call when we're outbounding.
Right.
With HVAC, in the summer, especially 2021 was super hot. Well, at least we had a record-breaking day in 2021 in June or July. I think it was the end of June. My stepdad died right around that same time because I remember feeling bad because I was not there. But we had over 1,800 calls over the weekend because we had a 116-degree day, and that doesn't happen in Oregon.
I remember they were like, we're installing air conditioners, and we don't, because they don't always, some people are heat only there, right? You have customers that are still heat only.
We don't have a hot enough climate where everybody has an air conditioner. It's not uncommon to have somebody that just has a furnace.
That's wild to me because
That's
here
like
we are.
when you travel in California and you stay in an Airbnb, a lot of them don't have air conditioners.
Oh, girl, I will never book an Airbnb without AC.
No.
Literally, we're in an Airbnb at this event, and Oscar Pound is with us. So we woke up this morning, and I said, guys, I'm sorry, but this is living with Oscar. Like, the house was 66 degrees. Like, this is how it's going to be. And they're like, no, it's fine. Kaylee's like, I got another blanket, but it's fine. But
I keep my house that cold, too. So.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
So you're like, yes, I know. I got that. It's crazy though but that was I remember talking to you that summer and you're like, we are so busy.
And so when you're doing business planning, when you're looking at how many cancellations you have, you can run a report in Service Titan and find out why and if you can't get to them fast enough, you don't have enough people.
Yeah.
You just left millions of dollars on the table. And if you're not evaluating that with, your call count total, how many employees you have, your conversion rates, your average ticket, all of those things kind of go into the growth. Yeah. And so when we were looking at that, it was at BPW in 2020. We were like, oh my God, like we had over 2,000 cancellations. It's like, we didn't hire enough people. I told you guys, why 2020, we were like, we don't want to overhire. We don't know, with the pandemic, but we're like, we just got to go for it. And we kind of have had a revolving ad since then for plumbers. And then we added electrical in May of 2021. May of 2021. We had a plumbing in September of 2020.
Do you guys sell many generators there?
Yes. Yes, we sell. We actually, I would have to ask our electrical manager, like, comparably, but I feel like we do sell a lot of generators. It's been awesome to be able to have all three trades now and be able to offer all of that because we took our HVAC base and we, could market to the plumbing and the electrical now.
Yeah, we want to add electric, but some days I'm like, we got to get plumbing perfect first. But it's never going to be perfect. You just, when you're adding something different, it's just always going to be different.
I don't know what your regulations are in Oklahoma, but we have to have an electrician to do a disconnect. So I wanted to add electrical first, and we ended up adding plumbing first, and I love plumbing.
What do you love about it?
So consistent.
Yeah, it is. I will admit we don't have a lot of y'all have these seasons and we don't. We just pretty much stay.
But plumbing and electric, I mean,
I don't know.
Plumbing, I feel like there's more issues that arise that are urgent than in electrical. Yeah. Electrical, you usually can tell something's going to break. Maybe not 100% of the time, but right. HVAC is so seasonal.
So bipolar.
And it's just like if you don't have, it's a weather-driven industry.
But then when you're like businesses like ours where HVAC is still 80% of your business, it's just like, I'm always going to be bipolar, I guess, because plumbing is consistent as long as your team stays consistent. But then HVAC, it's like, okay, we were looking, I feel like if you own an HVAC company or run an HVAC company, you're like a part-time meteorologist. So I'm always like, someone can ask me the weather And I always I'll like spit it off and they're like, how do you know that? And I'm like, I don't know, you hate
I
me, your
have
company.
We're always looking at the weather. It's like, okay, what are we going to expect next week? Like
the call center, I start talking to them, either myself or someone on the team will start talking about next week's weather this week, at the beginning of this week, because we have to, if it's going to be in the 70s, we know the demand's not coming. We're going to be outbounding to book the calls and make sure our members are filling the board and doing those things. And so, but you have to pay attention. But again, I think that's why we're all mentally unstable if we run HVAC businesses.
We're used to being on one end of the spectrum or the other.
Or like the people that I'm friends with across like in California that are like, it's 80 here all the time. And I'm like, well, when do you have demand? And they're like, well, we still have AC. And I'm like, but it doesn't break. Like what happens, to me, when it's 80, I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Because it's still not hot, it's just not hot. What do you think, through the seasons of the change, through COVID and through growth and whatever that's happened through Sky and the things, what do you think is what's fulfilling you today?
I love our team. I love our office staff. I love our management team. It's awesome to see how at our daily huddle, everybody will throw out ideas as to like, if we need to add calls to the board, what can we do? And it's just, I love my team.
That's good stuff. Good team. I love that you pointed out that like back in the day or whenever it was, there wasn't culture. And we talk about culture so often.
It's a buzzword, it seems like.
It is like still like kind of refreshing because sometimes you get frustrated. We are guilty of being frustrated with like, that wasn't a culture issue. And sometimes it wasn't. But knowing still how far the trades have come with the culture, it's crazy to see.
It is. And I lived it.
Yeah.
I lived it
You see
in the 90s.
Not having women being appreciated in the position or never having a position, the way that the tech to tech communication, the way they treated each other, it's just crazy how different the culture is.
There's a lot more bullying.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of thing. And it's just, if you train your people and you demonstrate your expectations and what your culture is in your company, like you guys have an amazing culture. We have an amazing culture. We've really worked at that and been cognizant of it. And if you're not, it doesn't just happen.
Right.
And it starts at the top.
That's why you said, what fulfills me is my team. Like every single one of our managers is just an amazing person who wants to see their team succeed. And we don't have interdepartmental fighting.
Yeah.
We used to. There was a time when service and install just
always went up, but you have to change it, and it starts from the top. And you have to be like, it takes an effort from everybody's part. And then when it meshes and it starts clicking, it just really starts clicking and vibing, and everything works right the way it's supposed to. And you're never like, don't get us wrong. I mean, how many employees does Sky have? Over 100 now, right?
104.
But for the most part, if on a good day you have 90%, 85% of the people that are on the same page, that's what's going to happen. And there's so many times that like, or that I want to be like, why can't we get on, like, what's wrong? What broke? Or why can't we get on the same page or whatever? And then someone asked me like, was it maybe on a podcast, but when was the last time we have 55 employees. When was the last time you had 55 good days in a row?
Oh.
And with no issue. When did you have 55 good days in a row? And I think that was our next start coach. And I said, like, all of us in the room were like, okay, that's a perspective that you need to remember because someone's going to always. So like, think about how many employees you have.
How we always focus on the 1-star and not all of the hundreds of 5-star reviews. You think about the one thing and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything wrong.
It's hard to not get hyper focused on that too, especially when you guys are amazing business owners. We're an amazing business. So when we have somebody leave a 1-star review, either we really did screw up and we need to make it right, or that person is just a jerk.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just not going to please them all.
And you're just not going to
try.
and they just have, a cockamamie reason why they're mad.
Yeah. And sometimes like you have to come a long ways when you can recognize that, yeah, we just sucked on that. Yeah. We tried, we're going to try to
We've
fix
all
it.
done it.
Yeah.
We've all,
but because we're operated by humans that are still going to have bad days. And sometimes they're just going to have a bad day and we just got to recognize it. Yeah. And then you're fixing it from there determines if they're your customer or what you can do later. Well, we really appreciate you. I think we could sit here and talk to you forever because
I could talk to you guys forever.
so much wisdom that comes
Well,
from
then
you.
stay another hour because we're bringing up some more Next Start ladies. We're all going to chat. We're going to roundtable.
Anyways, we are so thankful for
Yes,
thankful.
thank
Can you
you.
edit me saying super? I'm the duper duper.
Super
We're at
thankful.
super meeting.
We're at super
That's
meeting.
right.
We're so thankful to have you with us and to share your wisdom with our guests. And we just look forward to keep watching you grow and you helping us grow. Because that's the truth too.
I
We're gonna
love
keep
you guys. I will always be here for anybody
thank
who
you
wants
for
to call.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review in Apple. And make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.